What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here coming at y'all with another episode, another interview. And we got one of the biggest ballers in the FCS today, man. Mr. Barriere here with us, man. Barriere, my bad. Barriere, Eric Barriere Jr. here with us, man, from Eastern Washington University, the quarterback. And I know I only had 4 spots for all his accomplishments on the intro video, but I can go into an hour's worth of accomplishments, man. FCS Player of the Year, Walter Payton Award runner-up, team captain, Big Sky Player of the Year, Big Sky All-American, FCS All-American. This guy's done it all. I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get into your high school, man. 3-star athlete out of California, and you end up at Eastern Washington. But I want to ask first, man, what teams recruited you the hardest out of high school?
It was mostly all Big Sky schools, but the two hardest was probably um, Eastern Washington, Sacramento State, and Hawaii.
Man, I'm sure there's a lot of Pac-12 schools that you're interested in that would love to have you now, man. Does being kind of overlooked as a recruit, I think you were the 1,200, like right there in the 1,200 range of recruits coming out of your class. Did being overlooked kind of motivate you now to just put on a show and show everybody what they were missing out of high school?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely motivated me because just throughout high school, you see these different people with the big names, or you see them at camp and stuff like that, and you see they not really like how people putting them up to these standards. So that just motivated me just throughout my whole high school and college career, just to keep going and keep pushing me because I know God got His timing for everybody.
Absolutely, man. And so, can you kind of go into what were your first impressions of Eastern Washington? What coaches were recruiting you the hardest, and why did you end up deciding to commit there over some of the other schools that were interested in you?
What stuck out to me was just the family atmosphere, just the community, since it's a small college town. And then just some of the coaches that recruited me the hardest was like during the time was Coach Baldwin, Coach Cherokee, Coach Nick Edwards, and stuff like that. But they all went to different schools.
Just say, hey, man, coaching changes are so tough and they're so common now in college football. But looking at your career, man, this past year was one that was so different. Playing in the spring, had to deal with COVID week in and week out. What were some of the difficulties that you had to overcome during this COVID season? And how, as a team, did y'all prepare for just dealing with COVID all the way throughout the season and playing in spring, which y'all are not used to?
And it was definitely weird because at times when we was getting ready for the season, I remember we used to have practice where they said that we was doing 7-on-7, but the DBs had to be like 5-10 yards off because it couldn't be no close contact and different stuff like that.
Wow.
So you had to deal with different stuff like that. But we also dealing with COVID testing too, like doing that many testing over a while kind of just gets tiring and stuff. But it was definitely a stressful season just because everything that had to go through. But it also was a great experience because it also made the team closer.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, looking at your team, did you guys have how much did it play into a part? Like, how many rules did your coaches have, and how much was it just the team coming together and putting personal responsibility on each player, saying we need to keep ourselves out of dangerous situations to make sure we can hit the field on Saturday?
Oh, it was definitely rules. Like you couldn't go to different places. You couldn't make sure you had to always wear your mask wherever you go. They didn't want us going out. They didn't want us going to different stores. Just wanted us to stay in this small little community area. So it was definitely difficult because sometimes being in the house, you obviously want to go out or do something, but you had to put the team first.
Man, I like it, and that's why y'all had such a great year. And you set the world on fire, man. The stats that you put up this year, the performances were just mind blowing, man. Did you? Okay, you could be honest with us here, man. Did you feel a bit snubbed the fact that you got the FCS Player of the Year from the FCS? But then you came in second with the Walter Payton Award. I know I'm new to all this FCS stuff, but that doesn't make any sense, man. Did you feel a little bit snubbed?
Yeah, a little bit, cause I like kind of what you said. Like that didn't make sense to me because I thought like the people that voted for that stuff also voted for the Walter Payton Award. But I couldn't dwell on that. Like that just kind of pushed me and motivated me more, just to be better this season because obviously being second, I wasn't good enough.
Oh man, listen, we're gonna have to have you back on after you win the Walter Payton Award this year, man. I know you're gonna be gunning for it, but looking at yourself as a player now, how far has I guess how has your game evolved since you first step foot on campus as a freshman to now being the senior leader of this team?
Oh, and just really honestly, just confidence. Like my confidence from freshman year to now, just like knowing the playbook, like it grown so much. And then just also being more vocal because like I'm honestly a quiet guy and stuff. But like as I'm getting older and stuff, being more around the team, I'm starting to speak up more, show more leadership. And because that stuff is hard for me because I'm more of a lead by example type of person. But being more vocal is definitely something I've been working on.
Hey man, I'm sure your teammates always listen when you speak up. When that quarterback, like when a quarterback of like your caliber speaks up in the locker room, it's probably like, oh man, okay, we got to listen now. But looking at yourself as a player right now, man, what are your biggest strengths that you think you bring to the field?
Oh, just I think my competitiveness. I'm a winner. I don't like losing, and then I just think I can make any. I can make all the throws. I can make any play. I can do just like any other quarterback. I can do too. So like I think I can. I show I can do everything throughout the game. I can throw the ball, run the ball. If I got a scramble, I can do that. Read the defense. I can do it all.
Absolutely. And we saw on the highlight tape. I mean, I know them DNs were pissed on a few of those plays running like 30 yards, and you're
Oh
just over
yeah.
there like, I'm gonna dot it after all after all this.
No,
But
it's crazy just, once you do some of that stuff and then like hearing some of the comments that the defenders make because, obviously they want to get you, but then when they see that stuff happen, they just shake their head or the only thing they can really tell you is just like good play pretty much.
But yeah, we had Demetrius Taylor on yesterday. He's a DN, and he said he's like the only quarterbacks I hate facing are fast ones. He was like, if I have to run 30 yards to get you, I don't want to talk to you, don't want to play you. But it's I know this is going to be a hard question, but I know you're competitive. I know there's something you can probably come up with. You don't have to give away all your trade secrets, but what's one thing you think you need to improve in your game to take it to the next level?
I think just making more checks, just stuff that I see. Sometimes the coaches might see just, taking things into my own matter. And then also just footwork, because I feel like you can always improve your footwork as a quarterback. So just getting better at that stuff, getting better at the little things, that's what's going to make me better.
So, I mean, kind of building off that, a follow up with that, how much control do the coaches give you of the offense? Like, are you allowed to switch out of a play if they're showing a certain defense? Like, how much freedom are you allowed at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I'm allowed freedom as much, but it's also, got to work with the coaches too. I feel like because the coaches, he's also up in the skybox too. So he obviously has a better view at that stuff sometimes too. So I also don't want to do too much, but also, got to have some type of leeway a little bit.
Absolutely. And so I know, you're like you're one of the first quarterbacks we've had on the show, man. So I'm really interested in this question because, film study is such an important role for every position, but the quarterback position, you got to study so many different things. How much film do you watch of an opponent as you're going into a game weekend?
Say say we start film like Sunday, so pretty much from that Sunday leading up to that game week that Saturday. So I'll probably watch it from Sunday up until maybe Thursday, and because Friday, you traveling and stuff like that, getting ready to do all your other stuff. So put film work, honestly, you got to watch it every day if you want to get to where you want to go and learn the opposing team.
Absolutely. And so, when you don't have to give us your full routine or anything like that, but when you turn on the film, what are the first and biggest things that you look for what a defense is going to do, against you guys?
Well, everything is all the teams different, against for opponents, but just sometimes down the distance, how they line up, with first couple snaps and different things like that. Just trying to see any movements, any tips that the D line might give you or something like that. So anything small or anything, just trying to look at the first down yardage, how they line up, first and 10, different things like that, and how they play you third down, whether it's third and short or third and long, and just because of defense like to switch up different coverages once it's like third and medium and third and short, stuff like that.
Yeah, and so kind of follow up to that. Do you prefer like a defense like playing zone, or like would you rather them man up and let your guys on the outside go and do it? Because I know y'all got some dogs at the wide receiver spot.
Honestly, I like man, but also like I feel like I've seen it all. Like we didn't seen so many different coverages as I've been playing. So whether it's man or zone, like I don't care. Like as long as because it's a hole, I can find holes in zone and I can throw it up top at man, so it don't really matter.
I like the confidence, man. But as a team leader now, I mean, you're the face of this team right now going into this fall 2021 season. What are the team goals for Eastern Washington that you guys want to have checked off by the end of the season?
Definitely win Big Sky. That's one of the goals, and then to reach the playoffs again. And then once we reach the playoffs, to get back to the national championship and hopefully finish strong and win it.
I can't think of a better way to finish your career, man, out there in Eastern Washington. But I always ask team first goals, but I know you got some stuff somewhere, probably written down somewhere in your head. What are some of your personal goals for the 2021 season?
Some personal goals, I kind of think about that stuff a little bit, but like some of my personal goals, cause I know I'm close to a lot of records and stuff like that. So hopefully, just try to be number one, finish out number one in certain amount of categories at Eastern Washington, because we have had a lot of great quarterbacks since I've been here and stuff like that since past. So just to finish out number one in certain categories would mean a lot to me.
Oh man, I congrats if you hit all those, man. I'll be reaching out if you get one of them. I'll be like, that's my guy. And I think if I'm not mistaken, you're the leading passer returning for FCS this year too. I think it's you first, and then Akil Glass at Alabama A&M second. So that's a huge accomplishment too. So congrats on that, man. But I know you're going to give me the senior leader political answer that everyone gives. Like the first game is the most important, but when you look at the schedule, man, what game do you have circled and you're just like, man, I can't wait to suit up and go ball out in that game?
Definitely that first game. Definitely that UNLV game. Because it's you in the Raider Stadium, and that's a brand new stadium, literally second year into the league, and then it's also a money game too. So it could help the school out because it'll bring in money for us, and especially money that we need right now. So definitely a game that's that I'm looking forward to. But I'm also looking forward to playing Weber State too, like later on in the year too, because that's a really good team.
Absolutely. So, I mean, do you guys? So, I'm always curious. Do you guys get a little bit more hype for those like quote money games against these teams? Everyone's like, oh, you just go collect your check and get beat. I've been talking to some of you guys, and it's like, man, we don't want to just go and get beat. We want to go and beat them and take home the check. How much pressure do you feel, or how hype is the locker room? Like, man, we just got to go out here and play. We got nothing to lose. We're going to go take this W.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely the confidence is high, and it's definitely a mentality where it's not nothing to lose mentality, because most of the players on the team, and so we feel like we should be at that level or we can compete with them. So when we had an opportunity to play them, all we want to do is just ball out and show the people that's watching and stuff that we're good and we compete just as much as the FBS level teams too.
I like it, man. And so, looking into it, there's always people going to be sleeping on Eastern Washington going into the playoffs. They're like, man, they can't get to the title. We got to give this and that props. What is your message to all the fans and other teams who are sleeping on y'all going into the 2021 season?
Just the message is we still the same team that just played in the spring. So we got a majority of our guys returning. So expect some big things out of us, but also, we also that time in the spring made us a stronger unit. So I think it'll just all show in the fall.
Oh man, I like it. So these next few questions are just about you, man. We're gonna promote you here, talk about just your game. What NFL QB do you look up to the most, and do you think you model your game after the most?
Okay, so I'm more of like an old school cat. So like the dude that I looked up to the most was Michael Vick, and like honestly honored my game, uh, like Michael Vick, because growing up I had the Mike Vick cleats, all that stuff. So that's what I grew up looking up to.
Listen, you can't go wrong with Michael Vick. I mean, like we're about the same age, so like I know what you're talking about. Like growing up, I think every kid that was, born like in the late '90s was like, man, that's the guy, Michael
Oh
Vick, right
yeah.
there. So this could be a tricky question. So, but you got to pick one. You can't give me both. What's more important to a quarterback, arm strength or accuracy?
Hmm. I think I feel like accuracy. Accuracy is more important because if you hit, you don't gotta have the strongest arm, but if you can get it out there and you're accurate enough and you hitting the targets, that's all that matters. But if you all you have is arm strength and you just throwing the ball out there and just leading your receivers super far, but they can't make a play, then what's the point of it?
Oh man, I like it. And so I know you playing in the playoffs, playing in the conference y'all do. You've played against some really really good players. So it's a double parter. Who is the best defensive lineman and defensive back that you've ever had to go up against?
That's kind of tough. Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't played against some really good D linemen. Honestly, it's a bunch of them, but I think probably the best one I done played against so far was probably Christian. I think Christian Ellis or something like that. He was a back in 2018. He was a DN. He ended up getting drafted to the New Orleans Saints, and then DB. Uh, UC Davis. They have a really good DB named Jordan. I think Perryman, number 23. Just watching film, and stuff like that. Just seeing how physical and stuff he was. He's really good.
I like it, man. So, what's your favorite route to throw? If you had to, if you get one route to save your life, what are you throwing?
I'm throwing wrong route. I think I like corner. I think I can throw. I'm pretty consistent with a corner ball.
Ah, man, I like it. I like it. So, what keeps you motivated year in and year out, man? We've talked about all the accolades. We've talked about the playoff appearances, being one of the best quarterbacks in the country, regardless of rank. What keeps you coming back year in and year out, given your 150%, man?
Just my family and just life. Just being alive. Just not taking this stuff for granted because you never know when you never know what can happen with you. So every year, with whether it's football or not football, I just try to approach everything the same and with gratitude,
Man.
gratefulness.
I love that, man, because I know a lot of people can get caught up in the accolades, man. You're just like, hey, it's great, but guess what? We got more accolades to get next year. I like to hear
Yep.
it, but this is going to be a tough one. And so, without taking this next year into account, what letter grade would you give your career right now at EWU?
B plus, like a B plus, because
Man,
I feel like it's still more stuff out there that I know I can go out and get and take.
so what's it going to take to be an A when you graduate after next year? What you got to accomplish this year to get that A for yourself?
Go out on top. Really, just win a ring. That's the only thing I feel like just stopping me back from everything.
Oh man, I like the confidence, and I like that you're just like, man, I've done all this stuff. I was voted the best player in the entire FCS, but it's just a B for me, man. That's crazy. But these next two questions, I mean, I know we're gonna hear your name called in April at the NFL draft. I'm confident about that, man. So these next two questions are geared toward that. My first one is, what is your response to people who overlook you for playing at the FCS level? We cover FCS football, and we're trying to change the narrative, but there's a long way to go. If someone asks you, why should we consider you along with these Power Five guys? What do you tell them?
Um, just look at the stats and just look at what I do year in and year out. Like I feel like once I first started, I showed glimpses, and then that following year I took another step, and then this year I took another step. So I just think it it all is the same, like competition wise. Like I just think what separates FBS and FCS is just that O line and D line, like because you got some freaks on the D line, and you got some freaks on the O line. But skill wise, I think it's all the same.
I like it, and more people need to hear that. And I think people overlook players all the time because also FBS and FCS, it could just be a matter of opportunity, especially with different recruiting services and everything. We all know the politics behind all that. We don't have to get into that. But last question here, man. I'm expecting to see you hopefully at the Senior Bowl because we cover that every year. I'm expecting to see you in a bunch of these all-star games to show your talent. But if an NFL franchise pulls you aside and asks what type of player they're getting if they draft you, what do you tell them?
I'm gonna tell them they're getting a player that loves the game of football, that's committed to the process, and that's gonna go in every day and challenge yourself to be better because it's always room for improvement. So I'm just trying to look to get better, and hopefully, if it's a vet or something, go under their wing and try to learn as much as I can.
Man, I think that's amazing. The fact that you even threw that little bit in there, like, hey, if there's a vet, that's fine. All I'm going to do is soak it up. We've seen so many quarterbacks do that and be successful. So, just one last follow-up, man. That red field, man, how big of a home field advantage is that red field? And what is it like playing? Does it ever just like trip you up a little bit? Because that thing is hard to miss on TV.
Oh no, it's definitely fun, especially when you got a full crowd. It's nothing like an Eastern game, especially with the red field, because you got fans coming from all over, and they really just sometimes coming just for the field. They don't even be sometimes might not even be for the team. So I think that and cause especially back in 2018, I remember the playoff games, the playoff run that we had, and just the crowds that would be there, and just it was crazy.
One of my favorite fields. Like Boise Blue gets too much credit. The red is just different because it's so bright, and like at the night games, it just glows. I love it, man. But listen, I appreciate you coming on here, man. I really, really do appreciate it, and I'm grateful to have you on here. But this is your time, man. Social media, where can they find you? Give your shout outs. Where can people find you? NIL deals, everything like that, man. This time is yours, whatever you want to talk about.
Oh yeah. Well, my Twitter handle is _EB3. It's like 2 underscores and then capital EB3. Then for Instagram it's _EB3. And then yeah, that's about it. That's how you can reach me.
Absolutely, guys. We will have Eric's social media linked in the video and on our social media. He'll be tagged and everything, so you can find it there as well. So make sure to go support him because the more followers he has, the more support he has, the bigger this guy gets, and he deserves all the shine, man. He's been balling on the field, so he deserves all the shine off the field. But guys, make sure to go follow Eric. Y'all know where to find us, man. YouTube, any all podcast streaming platforms. So subscribe now. We're going to be back next week with some more episodes. But for Eric, myself, and the Bluebloods guys, we are out.